The goal for this exercise is to simplify this expression. The fourth root of x with an exponent 5 multiplied by y with an exponent 12 divided by 125x equals x times y cubed divided by the fourth root of 5 cubed. So I start with this expression. The first step that I'm going to take is to apply the fourth root to the numerator and the denominator. If I have a fraction inside of the radical sign, that is, if the radicand is a fraction, I can take that and change it into the fourth root of the numerator divided by the fourth roots of the denominator. Now for the second step, I'm going to do something similar. I have two numbers, well, two variables being multiplied on the radicand of the numerator. And I can change that into the fourth root of x with an exponent 5 multiplied by the fourth root of y with an exponent equal to 12. So again, if I have two numbers or two variables being multiplied in the radicand of a root, I can change that into the root of one number or variable multiplied by the root of the other number or variable. Now for the next step, I factor x with an exponent 5 to x to the 5th power, into x to the 4th power multiplied by x, or what is the same thing, x with an exponent 4 multiplied by x. If you perform this multiplication, it is x with an exponent 5, x to the 5th power. Now, that's it for this step. For the next step, I can do the same thing I did before. I have a multiplication in the radicand, that is the fourth root of x to the 4th power multiplied by the fourth root of x. And remember, if we have a number or a variable in the radicand with an exponent that equals the grade of the root, I can take that x or that number or any variable outside of the radical sign. So if I have x with an exponent 4 inside of the fourth root, which is the root of grade 4, that just equals x. So that's what happens here. All of this simply becomes x. And now I have x multiplied by the fourth root of x. Now for the next step, let's work on the y. Just as a summary, remember, this is what we started with, and this is where we are up to now. Let's work now on the y. You will see that all of this expression, the fourth root of y to the 12th power, y with an exponent 12, all of this simply equals y cubed, y with an exponent 3. But to show you step by step how we get from here to y with an exponent 3, let me do all of the steps. First of all, the fourth root of y with an exponent equal to 12, I can rewrite that or factor that, taking the y with an exponent 12 and writing it as y to the 4th power multiplied by y to the 4th power multiplied by y to the 4th power again. In this multiplication, what you do is that you keep the same base number and you add the exponent. So all of this multiplied will equal y with an exponent 12. The reason I do that is, remember what we did with the x. I have a y now which has an exponent that is equal to the grade of the roots, and I have that a total of 3 times. I have it for this y, I have it for this other y, and I have it for this other y. So each one of those y's that have an exponent 4 and are inside of the fourth root, each one of them simply becomes y without any exponent or without any root. So all of this simply becomes y multiplied by y multiplied by y. And y multiplied by itself a total of 3 times is simply y cubed, y with an exponent 3. So now that is one way of showing how the fourth root of y with an exponent equal to 12 is simply y cubed, or y with an exponent equal to 3. So now what I do is simply rearrange things so they look a little better. I take the y with an exponent 3, or y cubed, and I move it to the front, right next to the x. So now I have x multiplied by y cubed multiplied by the fourth root of x. Now I am going to work on the denominator. 125 is the same thing as 5 cubed. 5 times 5 is 25, multiplied by 5 again, it is 125. So now I have 5 cubed on the denominator. And now I can separate that root also. The fourth root of 5 cubed times x is the same thing as the fourth root of 5 cubed multiplied by the fourth root of x. So now we see that we have the fourth root of x on the numerator and also on the denominator. And these two expressions, having the same on the numerator and the denominator, equals 1. So I have now all of this multiplied by this, which now becomes 1. And I don't have to write that 1. Okay, everything multiplied by 1 equals the same thing. So all of this multiplied by 1 is just this, x times y cubed divided by the fourth root of 5 cubed. And that is the simplification. Okay? This is what we started with, and this is what we finished. Okay? We finished with x multiplied by y cubed divided by the fourth root of 5 cubed.